There's a whole lot of adventure out there. It all starts now on Stay Tuned.
Hey everyone, welcome to Stay Tuned, the show for animation lovers. Recorded live on Twitch TV, broadcast on YouTube, and proudly streaming on Patreon. Coming to you from Austin, Texas, I'm your host, Phil Machi. Thank you so much for joining me here this evening. Tonight, we step away from the big screen for something more intimate. An original animated series that may appear unassuming at first, yet delivers in a very big way. My last review of Stay Tuned's first season is here with Hilda. And all that, and you'll have a chance to share your thoughts, questions, and opinions with me for a live Q&A after the show. Tonight's episode of Stay Tuned is sponsored by Austin Film Meet. Got an interest in pursuing film, video, or new media? Austin Film Meet is one of the most well-loved communities for independent film in Austin, Texas, utilizing events and programs to bring creative people together. Creatives of all types are welcome, whether you're an actor, director, writer, or any other artist. AFM is focused on raising skill levels and professionalism through increased awareness, education, and experience. Learn more about their upcoming events and more today at austinfilmmeet.com. Imagination is a powerful thing. It can whisk you away to a land of rolling hills and inviting clouds, where creatures great and small remain hidden unless you allow yourself to look. Sometimes the world can be as terrifying as a great troll, and others as fascinating as a miniature village full of elves. Even when you least expect it, like in the Netflix original series Hilda, it can all be real. And I'm about to show you how, but first, this. You know, I hear it all the time. Phil, there are no more good cartoons. Typically, this is the battle cry of the nostalgic, and while I too revel in the animation of my childhood, I am also aware of two very important things. One, some of the cartoons I grew up with have not aged well. And two, there are some truly amazing cartoons being produced right now. Tonight's First Impressions review puts the spotlight on one such brilliant star known simply as Hilda. The series is only 13 episodes on Netflix, but in that short burst, it manages to move mountains. Which it literally does when we discover one mountain in particular is actually an ancient giant who fell asleep. Hilda's success comes from its mixture of fantasy, mystery, and a total willingness to be honest. The premise is simple. A young girl named Hilda with blue hair, voiced by Bella Ramsey, lives with her mom, Joanna, voiced by Daisy Haggard, out in the middle of nowhere. She spends her days adventuring outside with her deer fox named Twig. Think albino baby fox with little stick antlers. Together, they discover trolls, run through the fields, and relax together while Hilda draws in her sketchbook. It's everything a kid could ask for. And Hilda is one unique kid. She loves to unabashedly rush into adventure and has a huge heart for the unknown. But through an unfortunate turn of events, which involved a giant accidentally demolishing her home, Hilda's mom decides it would be better and safer for everyone if they moved to the city of Trollberg. Hilda is not happy about this. She doesn't care about making friends with children her own age, and why should she? She's made friends with elves, giants, and all manner of woodland creature. Nevertheless, She and her mom give it a go, and before long, Hilda finds herself in school. She also makes a couple of friends named David and Frida. David, voiced by Oliver Nelson, is a timid kid who is very cautious, and the source of the show's funniest running gag, in which he always has some sort of bug on his head. Then there's Frida, voiced by Amira Falzon Ojo, a spirited go-getter perfectionist who has a healthy sense of competition. She's also a Sparrow Scout and is determined to earn every merit badge available. Once the series is a few episodes in and all these relationships have been established, the rhythm of the show takes hold. The three children find themselves experiencing strange and exciting things like renegade trolls inside the city walls and libraries with secret passageways filled with spell books. Many of the episodes have a twinge of the moralistic, but it's never heavy-handed. What impresses me most about the series is just how genuine it is. These kids come into contact with some pretty unusual and extraordinary circumstances, but it's all real. At times, the adults are depicted as adults tend to be, skeptical. But ultimately, when faced with the reality of the fantastic, they wind up acknowledging the truth. Trolls are real, but because they don't tend to show up in the city, people are surprised to see one at a parent-teacher school night. We get to experience the terrifying adventures of Hilda and her friends hiding evidence of a baby troll. It's all structured like maybe the kids are playing pretend, but ultimately, when the truth is revealed, the show is less about Hilda having a runaway imagination and more about her tendency to find trouble. She's always well-intentioned, but tends to get in over her head. And when it gets right down to it, Hilda is quite possibly the perfect friend. She repeatedly sticks her neck out for not just the people in her life, but complete strangers, whether they be animal or spirit. The series kicks this off when Hilda discovers a village of invisible elves. Elves who are obsessed with contracts and paperwork. They can only be seen once you sign a special legal document. You can't help but think, oh sure, only Hilda can see these elves, how convenient. But when her mom and friends eventually get pulled into the mix, the fantastic elements of the show become increasingly acceptable. It's quite clever in the way we are taken along for the ride, which is really great because some of the episodes get downright creepy. Even with the spooky vibes, there's just as much heart and humor to match. The relationship, for example, between Hilda and her mom is very sweet and refreshing, and I love how everyone seems to acknowledge Hilda's propensity for mischief. The series' color palette is made up mostly of muted earth tones, which grounds the senses, and the traditional animation is smooth, crisp, and doesn't feel as if it were designed completely digitally. It's all very pleasing to the eye. The episode structure from 3 through 8 becomes a sort of monster of the week, with the kids facing a new mystery each time. But brilliantly, starting with episode 9, titled The Ghost, the rest of the season leaves each episode semi-unresolved. This sophisticated serialization challenges our trio with an unexpected bump in their friendship. See, when Frida discovers that a ghost has been secretly cleaning her bedroom at night, she starts to question her perfectionist ways, and thus her identity. She even starts to push her friends away as a result. So a rift forms between David, Hilda, and Frida, making for an engaging final 5 episodes. We meet a mad scientist playing with spirits, a giant black hound eating people, and discover unexpected fuzzy creatures who live in the spaces behind your furniture. And through it all, we're reminded of the innocence of wonder. Hilda's benevolent heart teaches us that no matter how bleak things appear, there's always another way. Sometimes that way is to confront the thing everyone is trying to avoid head on. sometimes that scary creature lurking in the distance is actually just lost, frightened, and hungry. At the 46th Annual Annie Awards this past February, Hilda won 3 times, including Outstanding Children's Animated Series. On top of that, the show was recently nominated for 4 Daytime Emmys, which does not surprise me due to the talented individuals behind it. It's the brainchild of writer-illustrator Luke Pearson in graphic novel form, but the animated show includes the efforts of head writer Stephanie Simpson, an incredibly well-placed voice cast, and of course, the animation provided by Mercury Filmworks. That's the same studio that produces the newer Mickey Mouse shorts. Hilda is one of those modern gems in animation. It isn't flashy, nor does it boast an agenda-laced narrative. Yet, it isn't hard to notice the inclusive character diversity, particularly amongst the school children. It's smart, curiously interesting, and satisfyingly amusing. It's like the magic of a Miyazaki film combined with the cartoon-style fantasy of Adventure Time. Tactile and playful, we are transported to a world that's familiar yet full of fantasy. In short, it's everything I love about a cartoon show. Imaginative yet grounded, with a winning protagonist who keeps the audience rooting for her. The world seems lacking in hope lately, which includes content that just plain makes you feel good. Hilda came at just the right time. Thankfully, last October, it was announced that Hilda will be returning with a second season in 2020. Good things take time to make, so while it does seem like a long way off, I'm certain more Hilda will be well worth the wait. I'm giving Hilda 10 out of 10 trolls. That was the end credits music from Hilda. The series theme was composed by Canadian musician Grimes. The music of Grimes incorporates synth pop and club vibes, which does find its way into the animated theme song. Like the series itself, the intro captures wonder, mystery, and a whole lot of fun in just about 30 seconds of music. Well, that about wraps it up for this episode. Thanks so much to all of you joining me live on Twitch. I hope you enjoyed the show, and if you would like to support Stay Tuned and tune in anytime, join me over on Patreon at patreon.com/Phil Machi to become a subscriber today. Among the cool rewards available there, you can also stream this show anytime you like, which means never missing an episode. For more fun, check out my original comic books at retailsunshine.com, and you can interact with me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook under the handles of both Retail Sunshine and Phil Machi. Also, you can keep up to date with the latest animation news by visiting this show at facebook.com/Stay Tuned Show. I've been Phil Machi, you've been a wonderful audience, and until next time, keep those eyeballs peeled, those ears open, and be sure to watch out for trolls. And stay tuned. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are done with episode number 43. Next week, episode 44, is my last interview of season 1 before we go on break. And that episode, folks, set your calendars for it. It's with Townsend Coleman. He was the voice of the animated Tick on Fox Kids, and Michelangelo from the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from all the way back in the early 90s and I think late 80s, actually, too. If memory serves correctly, which it sometimes does. And before we get started with any chatting stuff, because of course I want to get to all your questions and comments here in the chat room live, let's first start off by thanking my Rubber Hose subscribers. Thank you guys, Diana A., Ryan Shaver, and Victoria Goodman. Thank you guys. I thank them every week. Anybody that is a Rubber Hose subscriber gets thanked. If you're wondering what that is, head over to Patreon. I'll put a link in the chat. And of course, there are multiple levels. You can, throw $5 at the show if you want to. But if you do 25 or more, then you end up being a Rubber Hose subscriber, and you get your name mentioned in a big special thank you on the air every single week, amongst other.